and welcome to the Bruce channel. I probably don't have to say this, but going to protocol I will. I'm Bruce. Hope you're doing well. So I missed last week. I was out of town, and there's been a lot going on. There's some leftovers too, so hang on, we're going to go pretty fast. First up, this is tragic. This is nothing short of tragic. A few days ago, the House of Representatives did pass the DARK Act. It prohibits your city or your state from passing legislation requiring GMO labeling, despite the fact that 90% of our population favors GMO labeling. Make no mistake about it, this is corruption at its zenith. Actually, nadir may be a better word. All right, so the House has also voted a bajillion times to repeal the Affordable Care Act. It's never got through the Senate. I am hopeful that in the Senate, where it's not even been introduced yet, there will be those with wiser, saner, minds and individuals who are less whores. Honestly, folks, big ag, big pharma, big chemical. In the House, they bought the right. I've previously adhered to broadcast standards. They bought the right to push shit down your throat. That's what they bought in the House. The right to push shit down your throat. Not that they'll call it that. They'll flavor it and tell you it's chocolate pudding. All right, as expected, 2 weeks ago, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker did join the field of Republican candidates for president, and then just this past week, Ohio Governor John Kasich, also as expected, announced. That's 16 name candidates. Governors Bobby Jindal and Jim Gilmore are still expected to announce also, and that's a big problem. The first debate is less than 2 weeks away, and that number is unworkable. If Jindal and Gilmore announce, the legitimate number, the name number, climbs to 18. Work the math. If you've got a debate and there's 18 people there and you take 15 seconds, not unreasonable to ask a question, give them 5 seconds to think about it, and then maybe 2 minutes to answer the question. If you go through 18 people with that format, you've got 42 minutes up. They one question each. If they get to be asked 2 questions, or maybe there's a follow-up, double the time. Now we're at an hour and a half, and we've still barely heard anything. We certainly haven't learned anything. So there is talk of only asking those polling in the top 10 to participate, or those polling at least 10%, but that sucks, and it is grossly unfair. If you're Jindal or Gilmore, how do you, and you just get in, let's say they get in a little bit before, how do you build that up quickly enough? Or Lindsey Graham, he's a senator for crying out loud, and he's polling something like 1%. Polling data is a completely flawed way to do this, at least with this large of a field. Maybe they could have 2 debates, splitting the field into 2 groups of 9, completely by random, okay? But this is a problem, and polling, it sucks, and here's why. And I don't know why the media thinks that Donald Trump is like, wow, this is mystifying, how he's doing so well. It's not mystifying. He is polling big. And I am not given to insightful genius, but isn't it obvious why? There are 2 reasons. One, notwithstanding the fact that he says stupid things, he does say them forcefully and without equivocation. It's refreshing. 24 years ago, Ross Perot was also refreshing in his candor. I don't think he said stupid things. But the public likes that, even if, as is often the truth in Trump's case, what he says is nonsense. They like it when you answer, and they hate it when you dodge. Charles Durning in the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Ooh, I like to dance a little sidestep. Yeah, that's what they mostly do. The other reason, it is more likely that the followers of Jeb Bush and Rand Paul and Scott Walker and John Kasich and all of the others, excepting those who are following Trump, would vote for any of the others excepting Trump. So it's Trump against a very widely split field. If it were Trump against, say, Scott Walker Perry or Rick Perry and Jeb Bush or something. They'd have 40 each and Trump would be under 20. All right, one more point. Yes, I said he speaks nonsense. Unbelievable. You've doubtless heard that he insulted John McCain. We'll return to that in a moment. Did you also hear that he publicly gave out Senator Lindsey Graham's cell phone number? Is that just not super Bush League? He has a lot of money. And he acts like a rich drunk in some restaurant. F this and F and that. I have been fortunate in my life to have been around some folks with a lot of money. Maybe more than Donald Trump. And it's been my experience that people with a lot of money and class never make a big deal out of it. They're not trying to show off. He acts like Nouveau Riche. But back to his comments vis-a-vis John McCain. He said John McCain was known as a war hero because he was captured. That is, he spent time as a prisoner of war. He got caught, and that's what made him a hero. Here, watch.
Because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay?
All right, so two things. While a POW, John McCain could have been released earlier. It was offered to him. That is an out-of-sequence release, but because, he was under torture. That would have been very easy to accept, and yet he refused to go ahead of his turn. Well, that's real, and it sounds to me really heroic. But two, Donald Trump and his logic, he says he's not a hero, that he prefers those that didn't get captured. Follow his logic. And keep in mind that Donald Trump is from New York. 11 September 2001, two very big buildings come crashing down. Among the thousands killed are the first responders, policemen, firemen. According to Trump's logic, they're not heroes. They got captured. They got caught between floors. They're chumps. The heroes were the ones who weren't trapped between floors, and that's his logic. I have a rooster friend. It is interesting to contemplate why there are so many candidates. A friend of mine postulated that it's because of the money, the matching funds. I'm not ready to agree with him. And obviously there are those like Trump for whom money is not the motivator, but my friend is pretty smart. He's a former college professor, so I'm willing to entertain the notion. But I also wonder if instead what happened 8 years ago is what's driving them. 8 years ago, there were some candidates on the Democratic side with plenty of bona fides. Candidates like Joe Biden, like Hillary Clinton, like John Edwards, Dennis Kucinich, and then there was this newbie guy. Kucinich's campaign probably was thought of as a pipe dream by most, but certainly no more so than that newbie guy, first-term senator named Barack Obama. Oh, by making it more preposterous, that guy's black. But we know what happened. Lightning struck. And maybe that's why there's so many Republicans running. Maybe they're just hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. On the Democratic side, this time things are shaping up more traditionally. The total number of declared candidates stands at 16, but the number of those whom we've heard of is 5. Hillary Clinton, of course, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, but this is great, he's another one who does not equivocate. He is at the opposite end politically of Donald Trump. And yet, he is lighting it up. He's getting rave reviews in places where you'd perhaps least expect it, in red states. Tell the truth. Answer questions. Watch how the voters respond. Duh. Other named candidates are former governors Jim Webb, Martin O'Malley, and Lincoln Chafee. Some others may get in. There's speculation that would include Joe Biden. This would certainly be his last shot. He's going to be 74 in January 2017, but my guess is he probably knows it's not going to happen and he won't get in. Unless something caused Barack Obama to not serve out his term and Vice President Biden became President Biden and thus incumbent, then obviously he'd run. Anyway, as long as they keep it entertaining, We'll keep watching.
Hey, let me tell you about my book, Shrink. For most of my adult life, I weighed a little over 100 pounds, not much more than in this picture taken when I was about 17 and considering becoming a jockey. But as is often true, once I crossed into my 40s, extra weight came and it stayed. For years I tried to lose, instead gained, and ended up 153 pounds. And I'm embarrassed to show you this video. Then I learned that it isn't about calories and exercise, but instead it's about what you eat. You might say, sure, ice cream makes you fat. But there were surprises, things like orange juice not being such a wise choice if you're trying to lose weight. So I just made some basic changes to what I ate, not how much, and the weight just fell off. Now, nearly 3 years later, it is still off. And don't misunderstand, I'm eating foods I like, not bamboo shoots. Friends ask me how I did it so often, I put it in a book. It's available as an ebook for all platforms, and the print edition is available at barnesandnoble.com and amazon.com. Hey, you can shrink too.
So did you watch the British Open? Even if you're only a casual golfer, even a casual fan, wow, it had something for everyone. The weather is always part of the discussion. If it's summer and the North Sea is just off there, you know you're not going to get 4 days of good weather in a row, and some days it's hard to find 4 hours. The old course at St. Andrews is unlike almost anything else, certainly nothing, we don't have anything like it here. That's where golf was born, in the 1400s, on the links. A roommate of mine once told me that he played there one summer, and that if you hit it in the rough, it was very, very tough, but if you hit it in the gorse, you didn't even bother to look. And watching, I certainly understand what he meant. By the way, he was a pretty fair golfer, and if I recall correctly, I think he only played 14 holes, something like that. He didn't finish all 18. He'd run out of golf balls. Anyway, for the tournament, the weirdest day was Saturday. For over 10 hours, the wind was howling. Golf balls on the green, literally, were being blown by the wind. I've never seen that anywhere. On the last day, the leaders kept changing, up and down, up and down. For the record, Masters and U.S. Open champ Jordan Spieth did not capture the third major, but you know, he came close, really close. He's often been called the best putter on the tour. And on one of those 4 days, he had 3 greens. Well, excuse me, he had 6 greens with 3 putts. He often has none. And if half of those 3-putt greens had been 2-putt greens, he wins without a playoff. Wow. All right, so no Grand Slam this year, but it will still be interesting to see what happens at the last of them. That's the PGA Championship mid-August, and it's going to be at a course called Whistling Straits. Pictures looks gorgeous. It's along the shores of Lake Michigan in Wisconsin. I'm going to watch. All right, so I'd hoped to show you this last week, but there was no show last week. I was in South Carolina working on a film called My Life Story. That's grist for a different day. A couple of weeks ago, I was walking near the backyard's island, and something fell to the ground just a few feet in front of me and caught my eye, and I thought it was green. Well, it was green, but I thought it was just a leaf from one of the locust trees. I don't even know why I bothered to look, but I did. Wow. It wasn't a leaf. It was, I don't know, Marlon Perkins, David Attenborough. Where are they when you need them? But honestly, it wasn't a leaf. It was a green insect of some sort. It almost looked like a praying mantis, but wasn't big enough. But stranger, it was fully engaged in mortal combat with a yellow jacket. They were belly to belly, lying on the side. And I was watching. I couldn't tell who was getting the better. The yellow jacket was clearly stinging the abdomen of the green thing, but the green thing seemed as though it was eating the head off the yellow jacket, which a praying mantis would do. Nobody wins against a praying mantis, do they? Anyway, I ran to get my camera. It didn't take that long, but by the time I got back, there was no more battle going on. And the green bug was just lying there. There was no sign of the yellow jacket. So, anybody know what was going on? Any entomologist with an explanation? I've got a picture of the green bug, and if you recognize it, or better still, if you could explain why they were battling. Yellow jackets don't eat other bugs, do they? Anyway, if you know, send your answer to the Bruce Channel at yahoo.com. I might as well remind you, too, that you can see all the previous shows at tinyurl.com/BruceChannel. the Bruce / Bruce Channel, or at our Facebook page, The Bruce Channel. All right, I meant to show you this last week too, but as I said, I was away. So, high and mighty art critics tend to deprecate his work. I often think of art critics like wine critics, you know. Look how much we know, or better still, look how little you know. Well, for all of that, people, you know, the human beings inside, people generally like the works of Norman Rockwell. And yes, he painted scenes that often overlooked some of life's senior manifestations. But he made us feel good about ourselves. I see nothing wrong with that. One of my very favorite Norman Rockwell paintings was the triple self-portrait. He's painting himself, looking in a mirror, and painting onto a canvas. It's beautiful. The mirror reflects an older gentleman, but the portrait that emerges on the canvas is younger. Well, I recently encountered a self-portrait by a painter I'd not heard of previously. He's Spanish. His name is Alex Alemany, and I'd recommend you Google him and look up some of his work. It's really neat, and some of it is very imaginative. Not quite as surreal as Salvador Dali, nevertheless very imaginative. Look at this self-portrait. Once you look just a little bit closer, it's the canvas that's doing the painting. It's remarkable. So again, his name, Alex Alemany. All right, finally this. You don't see this every day. Were I to harken back to my childhood, watching Westerns, there was a symbol that was virtually always understood to foreshadow danger. Birds circling in the distance. Now, you know, I've said I'm from Cleveland, and in the greater Cleveland community is Hinckley, Ohio, and there is a festival every year on March 15th. It may not be as elegant as the return of the swallows to Capistrano, but I suspect both the swallows and the buzzards of Hinckley pay little attention to the calendar. I mean, if someone sees a buzzard and it's only March 12th, well, we're not going to tell anybody, are we? So, the other day, my girl Katie goes ballistic. I mean, really, really noisy, and I followed her line of sight. Wow, it's time for Marlon Perkins and David Attenborough all over again. It's deja vu all over again. So I did a little research. I thought they might be turkey vultures, but they're called black vultures. Turkey vultures have a much shorter and redder beak. These are black vultures. Who knew? Anyway, I will keep an eye open for other animal events and or irregularities, and who knows, maybe Mutual of Omaha will come calling. So during the upcoming week, watch out for bugs. If you don't find any new ones, or if you do, I still hope it's the best week you've ever had.